welcome home.
Well, what?
Jose Alvarado to the Knicks.
Wow.
I'm so happy.
This is big.
Are you?
Jose Alvarado.
I know, but now he's with a winner. You like him when he was, nobody watched the Magic.
Love him.
You really? Okay.
I
I'm glad
love
for you then.
Jose Alvarado. New York is obviously going to love Jose Alvarado.
That's true. He's perfect.
He's the perfect player.
Okay.
Gritty.
Well,
he's wonderful.
that's a little far.
Big personality.
He's a great addition to the Knicks.
That's
Can
what
we
I'm
leave it
saying.
at that?
Perfect player
The
in his
player.
role.
Okay.
Come in, play, give Jalen Brunson a little rest.
Can I make a
get a steal?
Can I make a light suggestion real
Yeah,
quick?
of course.
Well, first things first, 3 of us maybe show out
Ooh.
Sunday, March 1st matinee, Knicks Spurs. Last time we all went to a
did go to
game
that,
together
yeah.
was Knicks Spurs. Early Wimby, he didn't do much, and in that moment I was like, that's not the GOAT. And then, but
Not against that.
Just think about it. Now, to
Are
full
you
disclosure,
really? You're down? I know Nick and I
I already
are down.
have a ticket for the game.
Starting with Drake Maye, he's back. Shoulder is healthy. He was a full participant. Love it. He's like, wow, you know what? It's not a blizzard. Feeling good. It's not, raining
that's true.
icicles on me. That's, it feels all right.
That is very true.
Is this bad news for the Seahawks, bro? You're still on. Before you answer, I'm sorry. Can you give us an update on where you are? Because Nick has been solidly Seattle.
Well, you don't know that.
It feels like it.
I've had to balance out from the
feels like
propaganda that you've been
I've been
spewing.
on the Patriots since week 4, but all of a sudden I'm a fool. We're at Super Bowl week. But
Well,
you said you've got an open mind.
In my mind, I feel like I know who I'm picking, but I won't share it till tomorrow, Friday. But I will say this, Nick, I've been taking notes and listening to even our experts from the Super Bowl, the players, and you guys. And Seattle is dominating, like in the checklist.
Why is that?
I mean, everybody's saying stuff that's leading me to think Seattle's going to win. Everybody. All the players, Nick, Coach, everybody except
Coach?
you.
Are you sure, Coach?
Well, you're right. Coach sounds like he might pick the Patriots,
And that would,
but
if he
still
does,
said a few things.
that's hard overhead. That's a Vrabel, Josh McDaniels
Also
thing.
one upset,
I think he
also
is
one
going
upset
to.
alert this year, and it's proven to be right several times.
He was a good
that is
upset
true,
alert
but
guy.
sorry, go
But most of the checks, it's something like 14-3 or something like that, the check mark. So, but that doesn't mean that's how I'm going to go. We'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
But anyway, for this, look, obviously a healthy Drake Maye is better for the Patriots, better for the game, and worse for Seattle. But should they be afraid? I mean, they just beat Matthew Stafford, who threw 15 more touchdowns or something like that than Drake Maye did. They just beat Brock Purdy.
Oh
for
my
goodness
gosh,
sake.
Brock Purdy.
They ran through Brock Purdy and the Niners.
Before the game in the hotel lobby.
I mean, the question, should he scare them, or is it bad news for Seattle? No. And Drake is great and had, at one point I did have him number 1 on my MVP ballot. I got him number 2 over, at the end of the year. But he doesn't, it's very unlikely he throws for 300 yards and even 3 touchdowns.
Correct.
In his whole career, 30 regular season, I go 33 games, include the playoffs. One time he's thrown for 300 or more yards. Once.
Yep.
5 times he's thrown for 3 touchdowns or more in 33 games. So he's not, he can kill him with his accuracy. He can kill him with his legs. He can kill him by being clean. But the notion that he's going to go out there and just go for 360 and 4 touchdowns, I'm not saying he's not capable, but
not his game
that's
right now.
scary. That's dangerous. So the way the question's worded, no, I don't think they should be shuddering or anything like that. Even if he plays his top game, it's generally going to be steady 2 touchdowns, 250 yards or whatever. So now that can win the game, but I don't think he's just going to totally annihilate their defense.
You want to go KW?
Look, I'm trying to be fair.
You don't need to be fair.
I'm trying to be
lean
fair.
into your.
Here's the thing.
Nick's
No,
not
because
fair
if I
with
go
the
too
Chiefs.
long,
He's not fair with the Chiefs at all.
I am
he
fair
thinks
with the
he is.
Chiefs.
He's
I've just been
completely
right all the time.
unfair
With
with
all due respect, Brou, you don't know what I've been going through. I got dressed down in my shared office.
because
he pulled me aside, closed the door,
That is
sat
true.
down like he was
I
my
am
dad.
getting
But you know what it was? It was the first grandfather moment on the show. He's like, look, I've been in this take game for a long time. You're You're headed down the wrong path.
This is true, but that's
Wow.
because here's the thing, and I'll just do it here.
Here we go.
I told him.
You know this. You know you're C.J. Stroud right now. Just so you know, the lecture that led to the losing. I'm just
I
saying.
understand that,
That's where you're at.
But I have, God, was the New Year's resolution be less humble?
Yes.
I have accomplished more in the take game than C.J. Stroud as NFL quarterback, so I can do this.
Fair. And he often gives good advice.
And it was simply that if you are leaning towards, just like you were for the AFC Championship game, which it didn't end up working out, but it kind of did because they won, Patriots comfortably. Right. My suggestion was have the analysis be more about the Patriots are better than you think and less about the Seahawks are frauds because Wild doesn't actually think
I like
the
to throw a
Seahawks
little
are
bit of
frauds.
frauds in there, though.
And so,
just a little.
So when I say I'm saying you don't have to be fair. You do get to wear the hat of the entire media. The only person who saw the Patriots being in this game as a possibility months ago.
Yes.
So you have planted your flag on. You guys are still not yet properly rating how good my team is. That's what I was trying to encourage you to lean into.
That's what I'm shocked by.
Okay, so go ahead.
And I will try to be fair and not mention the fact that tonight, the MVP award will be decided by a handful of voters. Maybe it's Matthew Stafford. Maybe it's Drake Maye. We don't know. They're interchangeable. And one guy, for one game, put up almost 500 yards. But no one's got the Patriots scoring 28 points. Like, I am surprised that really nobody has this take. And to the point that it has, like, scared me off of it. The Patriots are going to play very well against the Seahawks defense. Drake Maye, who might be the MVP, is going to play very well against this team. And Matthew Stafford had his way. Matthew Stafford last game ran for 0 yards.
Well, yeah, of course.
Well, yeah, he ain't gonna run for y'all.
So you are playing somebody who maybe didn't quite have the year Matthew Stafford had, but certainly can run the ball.
Definitely.
Ran the ball a little bit less than Isaiah Pacheco. So imagine if you had Matthew Stafford and Isaiah Pacheco in one guy. Yeah. I think that guy would be dangerous. And I'm shocked by the recency bias on both sides. Or, excuse me, on half of the sides. Recency bias on half the sides. The Seahawks defense was eaten up by the Rams. Eaten up by the Rams. True. And then everyone thinks, well, that won't happen again. Drake Maye, even the biggest Drake Maye Patriots skeptic, you have to say, was in Denver in a snowstorm and played poorly. And everyone's like, that's going to happen again. That will happen again. Well, he had a bad first half. He had a bad first half against the Chargers. Maybe it was nerves. Came out for the second half, threw for 173 yards and 142 passer rating. So games can go half this, half that. The Texans' defense was amazing. He dropped the ball a lot. Some of it was his. Some of it was Will Campbell. He did throw 3 touchdowns against the Texans. And I think right now people would be shocked if he threw 3 touchdowns against the Seahawks defense. I can keep going, but
keep going. Go ahead, whatever you want.
The other thing is this. If you were to design a team, like I think you got to start with a blank slate. Design a team that's going to beat the Seahawks. What does it look like?
So that's where, not this Patriots team.
Okay, can I pitch you something?
Yeah, sure.
I'd want them to have more experience than Mike McDonald in his second year. I'd want them to just be like, and Vrabel's been a head coach longer, and certainly Josh McDaniels versus that Mike McDonald defense. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give the guy who is in the Super Bowl for the 9th time as a coordinator or on the staff. I'm going to give that to Josh.
The coaching experience, sure, no problem.
I'm going to also give a little bit of like chip on our shoulder. A little bit of, I would want to be the underdog in this team if you're going to beat this team. And I'd want a defense that is peaking at the right time against a quarterback who led the league in turnovers. So to me, that's why I shouldn't have led the league. I sound a little whiny. Yeah. Against a quarterback who I looked it up.
When you whine.
Led the league in turnovers.
So let me.
That was good.
So the number one thing I would want if I were trying to beat the Seahawks is a better offensive line. So that's where because I think that is the Seahawks. not secret sauce, but there's no secret. What is
one
of the biggest strengths has been their ability to create pressure, not always sacks, but pressure and being able to drop 7 into coverage. Pressure with 4, and so a great offensive line can stymie that to a degree, and that's when the deep shots can be had against Seattle. But to kind of address each of your points, which are fair, but I just want you open to the counterpoint.
Yeah, I'm all ears.
You seem, when you talk about the weather, it seems to be presented as if the weather had a huge factor in Drake Maye's play, and the Patriots defense just kicked ass in perfect conditions. If you are making the argument that the weather played a massive factor in a significant in a significant portion of your playoff run, then whatever curve we are putting on Drake Maye's performance up, that same curve must apply to the Patriots' impeccable defensive run.
At the same time, counterpoint to your counterpoint,
yeah.
If I was going to race Usain Bolt and I got to choose I'll go a swamp.
Yeah.
I will just be like, you know what? He is much better than me.
Yeah, of
but
course.
if we race in a swamp, it's going to be a lot closer.
Yeah.
So I think the weather takes the entire offense down.
Right. I understand.
But both sides.
Right.
So I'm not. Yes.
Right. I'm saying, but it is what is tough for me is look at how dominant the Patriots defense has been on this playoff run, and not having the weather factor there.
I'll give you that.
But the sacks, which has been almost hard to explain how much better they've been with the pass rush. That you wouldn't just attribute to the weather.
Of course, and I wouldn't, and I personally think the weather component in both, I think the defense has been awesome. Drake has struggled. I think the weather's been overblown because I think the Patriots for the first 10 quarters of this playoff run played in fine weather. I think the second half against Denver, it was a disaster, and you can throw that out the window, but I'm evaluating those 10 quarters really. I don't think it is, you are saying we are looking at Drake from one bad game and Darnold one great game. It's not how I'm looking at it. I think Drake, and we don't have to have the same argument we had yesterday, not only has struggled this postseason to the mark of historic drops from regular season to postseason, passer rating, second biggest in 30 years, completion percentage, biggest in the history of the league. And I understand he had a great passer rating and great completion percentage.
I mean, he led the league in both. That's why I feel like that's.
KW, it's
like a rich guy can lose the most money.
No, but you're right, which is why if I were just saying he has the biggest drop this year, then him leading the league in both would be more noteworthy. He didn't have the highest completion percentage in the history of the league. He didn't have the highest passer rating in the history of the league. But
his passer rating is 84 in the playoffs. That's not horrible.
No,
you know what I mean?
But it
you can live with that.
It is, to me, what is noteworthy is typically when teams have quarterbacks with great passer ratings and they win the championship, the quarterback played that level en route to the championship. Now, Peyton Manning didn't. You know, he's one of the other big drops, so that concerns me. The other piece of it is outside of the playoffs, and I showed this graph before, but I will show this again. The thing the Seahawks are most susceptible against to getting beat by, the deep passes, Drake has not been good at them for 3 months, and that's not about injury. And so it's just that is, those went from, and I'm not going to show the rankings one because I can just tell you, first across the board to 16th or 17th across the board. It's not that he's been terrible at them, but it went from huge strength to league average. So all of that then combined with this is the defense you're going up against when we show you Seattle's numbers, that part to me, without being disrespectful to the Patriots, that's concerning. Because I know you're big on the Texans are the best defense, and even if I just say fine, it's hard to argue this isn't the second best defense.
Very good defense.
And you're right, KW, that people all of a sudden it's like, oh, now you believe in Sam Darnold. I believe Sam Darnold will play better, if we're going to use the Texans example, than C.J. Stroud did. I believe the Seahawks will get more from their quarterback in their matchup against New England than the Texans got from theirs, which to me are all reasons why I think Seattle has the upper hand in this game.
One take, Chip. I would like to put on the roulette board for Monday. And you're going to think it's unfair, but that's why it's just on the take roulette board. Once Milton Williams and Christian Barmore start going right over the guards and getting to Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold starts freaking out, there will be a little bit of Sam Darnold going pumpkin mode.
Maybe.
All of a sudden, like C.J. Stroud, what are you going to do with C.J. Stroud? I think C.J. Stroud's downfall was had a lot to do with the Patriots.
But I almost called you baby. Baby.
Again.
I'm going to call
Again.
I think you should rewatch that Texans first half and see how many of those C.J. Stroud throws were not pressured, not with Milton Williams running down, bearing down, and it was C.J. Stroud short-circuiting. I'm not saying your guys can't be excellent, but it's just, I don't think I think you're remembering that game a little bit differently. That was some of that and some of CJ just throwing it on passes that weren't even picked, just throwing it. Where is he throwing it to? I don't think that's a duplicable thing because I don't know how much of that was purely forced by you guys.
Yeah. The only thing that I think is shocking is it's perhaps the MVP against the guy who led the league in turnovers this year, and people are more worried about the MVP because he dropped the ball a few times in cold weather, turning the ball over.
I would say this. I think Nick is more concerned about Drake. I don't know if that's the full, the players we've been talking to. I don't think guys, when they're picking a blowout by Seattle, I don't think they're necessarily using that as a vote of confidence of Darnold over May. I think they're just looking at the two teams and feeling like Seattle's a lot better overall. I think Nick seems to have more confidence in Darnold than May. But I think that's just Nick. I don't think that's universal.
No, I agree with you in this regard, Brou. I think from the outside world, it's both these teams were 14-3. The story of the Patriots 14-3, right or wrong, was easiest schedule in 30 years. The story of Seahawks 14-3 was toughest division in the NFL, or in recent history. In the postseason, Seattle dog walked its first opponent and then beat it. They're getting a lot of credit for how good people think the Rams are.
Very much so.
And so maybe they shouldn't, but that is
catapult.
Right. And then the Patriots, it's kind of ugly as wins, and then it's like, oh, Jared Stidham. So it's one had better rep going into the playoffs and then strengthened their rep in the playoffs. That's, I think, what's happened.
During the regular season, this corner Ben Solak, 14% of Seahawks drives ended in a turnover. 3:19 on trade deadline day. Giannis still in Milwaukee. Here's how the Bucks social media team responded. A yawn, bro.
Wow. I would have thought that they would have had, clapping emoji or something like that.
I thought the yawn was interesting. That's why I asked Dusty to pull it. Your reaction to Giannis not being traded?
Well, look, I would have loved to seen him have been traded to New York or to Golden State or to Minnesota. I would not have been excited about Miami. But if he had gone to any of those three, I just would have been excited because it would have been a great story. Minnesota would have been a legit championship contender. Golden State would have been exciting and, hey, two greats together. And then New York would have obviously been not only an Eastern Conference favorite, but a contender to win it all. But that said, Nick, I think Milwaukee's doing the right thing. I think they will get a better – now, I think they should trade him. But I think they'll get a better offer in the offseason. Two of the teams that could offer them the best thing, San Antonio and Houston, weren't even involved because they believe in their team and want to see how far they go this year. Now, if Houston, which is a possibility, gets beat in the first round or even the second round, which I think is darn near a certainty they get beat in the second round, they are win now with Kevin Durant. I know that they've got a bunch of young guys too, but maybe if they go out in the first or second round and they're really not close to winning the West, they say, okay, we got Durant. Maybe they'll be willing to give up Şengün and Reed Shepherd or Amin Thomas or whoever, to get Giannis and try to win now. San Antonio, if they're disappointing and they think they're close and they seem to be, but let's say they go out early. And maybe they're like, okay, we can give up a Dylan Harper, and some picks And that all of that is better than anything that was being offered to Milwaukee in this trade deadline. So I think it's smart, Nick, for Milwaukee to wait. The deals will be there in the summer. And so now I also think they should probably sit Giannis if he'll do it the rest of the year. Because for them, they want to get this draft pick to be as high as possible.
So you don't expect him. So we're
I'm
done.
not saying they're going to do it, but I'm just saying I think that would be
sides.
smart. He wants to play, but we'll see.
KW, what was your tweet?
This is why you demand a trade.
I agree.
Don't ask for a trade. Don't request a trade. Like, say what you
try to
will.
soft pedal
None
it.
of us, I don't think any of us, even people that have close relationships with Rich Paul, liked how Anthony Davis left New Orleans with a "that's all folks" shirt, and it just burned the bridge there. It just
was really bad.
Felt kind of ugly.
Right.
And then he was in the Lakers and he won a championship.
Exactly.
That's what it takes. And being Mr. Nice Guy feels like, this sounds mean, almost feels like the Bucks are taking advantage of his kindness.
No, you are right.
No, it feels
if he's upset, blame himself.
It feels like two people that are not getting divorced because of the kids, except the kids are 28 and 35 and don't really care. I think Bucks fans at this point are over it. They're like, you fight every Christmas. We know you sleep in separate rooms. Like, you don't have to keep the facade going. And I think they're just now, to your point, Brou, I'll add another team that certainly was not going to be involved right now, but maybe would be involved over the summer, who could offer a ton of stuff. And that's Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They have a disappointment.
Right.
That's a good point.
We don't anticipate this happening, but if it's Rockets Thunder in round 2 and the Rockets beat them, and it's like, oh man, this championship defense isn't quite as easy. Contracts are coming up. So the league opens up. The Lakers are deluding themselves into thinking they're going to have some way to get Giannis.
They'll have something more than they've got now, that's for sure.
I'll be honest, I don't know.
LeBron
leaves. I don't understand.
They will have cap room. I mean,
they'll
he
have
won't
cap
be a
room,
free
but he was
agent,
not a free agent. I don't totally understand the Lakers
trade, though.
Believing they're going to get Giannis.
But you agree that they weren't getting really good offers.
No, that's the. If you remember, when I created fake Giannis offers, none of them involved the Knicks, the Timberwolves, or the Warriors, because every time I was like, those offers suck. Milwaukee should never take them. The Knicks have no picks to offer. The Minnesota I couldn't figure out because of apron stuff, and it didn't make sense. And the Warriors I thought was just objectively bad. Right. The good offers were from potential Atlanta, San Antonio, or Houston, and your point is San Antonio and Houston are kind of like, no, we're not pushing all our chips in right now. So I don't blame them for not doing it now. I am annoyed's the wrong word. Disappointed as a basketball fan. That's just another wasted year for Giannis.
Done already.
And
this time before All-Star.
Right. And so it has been, it has been such a long time since he played in big playoff games. And that's a damn shame.
Yeah.
And
we walked into this year knowing it. That's what
Wiles is right though. If Giannis is upset about it, then he has to
we have
look
breaking
in the mirror.
news, guys.
This
is breaking news, which are we there
we're
yet? Getting closer to 1 billion views according to Gianna and Gianna's analytics team. Where are we at, Gianna? Wow, a striking coincidence.
8 is it?
We are
5. Here. Gianna.
Oh,
Gianna,
my.
Congratulations. You don't have to put your
Where's one of our
up for sale.
$1
Yes.
billion.
A billion.
That's,
I have a script.
That means 1 in 8 people alive have watched the show.
Hey, we'll look at it that way. We'll take it that way.
That's what it means.
Luckily, the higher-ups at Fox were able to utilize some of their Hollywood connections. And we got a thank you video from an actor, someone in Hollywood, who also may have been the 1 billionth viewer. So take a listen.
You got me? You got me? All right, sorry. Look, I know most reporters are out there in San Francisco covering that football game, the Super Bowl, but that's not how Jackson Blade rolls. I'm a roving reporter. I go where other reporters dare not go. And no matter, I can't even tell you where I'm at right now. It's top secret. But no matter how dangerous the assignment is, I always find time to watch First Things First.
Wow.
And I was just happened to watch the Bud list from last week, and I saw that I am the 1 billionth viewer of First Things First on YouTube. So I am overjoyed, and I want to shout out my boys, Nick Wilds and that man Brou, smartest in the room. Job well done, gentlemen.
Wow. Well, thank you to Jackson Blade. Giannis.
Wow.
Over-unders, Super Bowl edition.
Wow.
First up, 1.5. We're at Drake Maye passing touchdowns. Nick, kick us off. You know how over-under works gambling-wise?
Yeah. And again, the key here is passing touchdowns, because I might be over 1.5. In fact, I am over 1.5 for Drake Maye total touchdowns, because I think he will run one in, whether it's after a pass interference or on the 1 yard line QB sneak, or just a scramble, or even a design QB run, because Seahawks are susceptible against scramble. But I don't think he's going to throw multiple touchdowns. I don't think the Patriots are going to score 3 touchdowns in this game. And, I think they land around 17, 20 points. So I will take the under for Drake Maye on passing touchdowns, under 1.5.
I'm going to surprise you guys. I'm going over.
It's coming around.
I think Drake's going to play well. I think Seattle's vulnerable to the deep ball, and I think he's going to hit Kayshon Boutte for a deep touchdown.
That's one, though.
No, I know, but I think he'll have
okay.
2. I think he'll have 2.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying 3, but I think he'll have 2.
I am in full agreement with Nick. I think he's going to have 2 touchdowns, but I think 1 will be passing and 1 will be running.
Coach,
Okay.
I have bad news for you.
What's that?
And I don't think you would have just said I'm in full agreement with Nick if you knew this. This is a scored segment.
I can't
KW?
score it. I can't
Why?
score it.
Wait, this is
I know-
scored?
See, I know.
It would have been a lot more gusto.
He
in
just
Coach's
said he
answer.
can't score. He can't
I
score.
can't be objective.
Then
I will just keep
if
on.
he was scoring, I'd be like,
Whoever
he's going to have
says
20
fake.
touchdowns.
Right. So I would have won that.
But you have, yes, Brou.
No, you
Not
can't.
scored.
Would have won it if
I
he hadn't
lean
scored.
towards Brou's analysis. All right, we're sticking with Drake Maye here. What's he going to do with his legs here? 38.5 rushing yards for Drake Maye over-under.
I love the over in this.
Me too.
Added bonus, you don't have to worry about getting screwed at the end for taking knees, because Patriots aren't going to be taking
love
knees. But listen, Seattle's the one spot on their defense where they are below average is quarterback scrambles. Yeah. In my opinion, the one spot this postseason Drake Maye's been really good is when he's run and he hasn't dropped the ball. I think that there is going to be pressure, significant pressure on Drake, and I think that tucking and running will not be a bad idea. Also, his injury is not a lower body injury where you think whatever the injury is going to limit him. That's a huge number for a quarterback that's not like considered a dual threat quarterback, but he's been over 50 yards in 2 of their playoff games. Sacks don't count against this total. It's not college football. So I'm going to say the over.
Yeah, I'm with you on the over. I think it would be smart. I mean, you don't want him running 15 times, but I think it would be smart for their game plan to be like, if he's really getting rushed, to take off and run. Just make sure you slide and all that stuff in a healthy way. But he's had his last 7 games, 4 of them, he's gone over 40 yards rushing, I think even over 45. And then 2 of his 3 playoff games, as you say, he's been 60 yards or more rushing. So I do think he's the over on this, and I think it would be smart of them to use his legs.
Yeah, we're all in agreement here, and I'm with Nick. I do think there's going to be a pressure element, which will force him to run some. But I also think in the pressure of the moment, especially early in the game, and with young quarterbacks and with guys who can have answers with their feet, they tend to default to that, especially early, because they don't have the patience to really sit in the pocket. So I imagine him, especially in maybe the first quarter, taking off even sooner than probably he should.
Can I add something real quick?
Yeah, of course.
It's not one of the props we're doing, and I don't even know which bookmakers will offer this. But if I were Kevin Wilds, I would put a little taste on Drake Maye over receiving yards. The old Josh McDaniels. Well, it would be it's certainly at a half. You know what I mean? And then the question is where the juice is on it. But it would be heavy juice on the under. You'd get plus money on will he have a receiving yard, but a little trick play.
Do they have prop bets
situation.
on someone else throwing a pass?
Well, my favorite. Listen, again, I don't want to derail the segment.
No, go for it.
Every year, my favorite bet for the Super Bowl. It's not always profitable, but it's most fun bet to make. Over 2.5 people to throw a pass. That's plus 160. So both quarterbacks throw. It can be either an injury is a bad reason for that to hit, but any type of fake punt or trick play, a third person throwing a pass, plus
Josh
160.
Dobbs will probably be in at the end of the game too. Just let Drake relax, have some Gatorade. Switch to Seattle. Over under 0.5 interceptions for Sam Darnold, who did lead the league in turnovers this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the great, I shouldn't say Cinderella story, but kind of, comeback story, whatever you want to call it. But I am going over, and I think he throws one. I don't think he melts down. I don't think it's 2-3 bad interceptions, but he's due. We believe in due dates on this side of the table.
Yep.
Hasn't thrown an interception his last 3 games. I think he throws one. I think they're going to be able to, Patriots going to be able to scheme something up that confuses him a bit, and I think he has 1 interception.
Man, I am so glad this isn't scored because I agree with you 100%.
Love it.
He's been clean throughout the playoffs. I think he's due, and I do think the Patriots are going to do enough things to force him to make post-snap decisions, and one of those is not going to be a very good one. At least one.
See, that's the thing. They compile.
Yeah,
At least.
He gets one. They're like pizza.
But we also did see one of the best moments of his season was a game against the Rams when he had just come off a game where he threw 4 picks against them, threw 2 picks early against them, and then rallied at the end, so it didn't ruin him. But this will be a clean sweep on this. I don't think either quarterback plays a clean game in this one. I think both teams can sustain a turnover by their quarterback. It's the multiple. I think they both. I think Darnold throws a pick. And for May, I don't know if it'd be more likely to be a strip sack or a pick, but I agree with you guys. I think Darnold will throw a pick in this game. And the betting public does too. It's minus 140 on yes, there being an interception.
I could see 2 coming. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I could see 3.
Yeah, I was going to say, you could.
I could see several. Over under. This is a big number from JSN. 94.5 receiving yards. Coach, you want to start here?
Yeah, I'm going with the under on this. And when you look over the last 5 Super Bowls, Devontae Smith had 100 yards, T. Higgins had 100 yards, and both those guys were the number 2 receivers. And I think that tends to happen in these games where the number 1 gets the bulk of the coverage, so that opens up some opportunities for the second guy. But I don't think they're necessarily going to contain him to a small number. I just think it'll be less than, 94.5.
Yeah, I'm with Coach. I could see Cooper Kupp having a big game for the reasons you said. I just think they're going to be like, JSN is not beating us. And I think they'll be focused on him, and I think they'll keep him under.
So I'm going to say over. And here's part of my rationale. I find it interesting that everyone seems to acknowledge Bill Belichick was one of, if not the greatest defensive mind ever. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of the analysis on Mike Vrabel's ability to take away JSN, to my ear, has been, well, he'll just do what Belichick did. I don't think it was quite as simple as, hey, I think there was more defensive schematic brilliance than just, hey, double one guy, put your number 1 corner on the other guy. I think there was more to it. And as great as Vrabel is, I think maybe Belichick made something look easy that was not always easy. And and you tell me if you think this is valid or not. I think there's something you learn from Belichick and you and the great coaches on the Patriots being a player for them that is not necessarily the exact same thing as you learn being a coach on the staff. I'm not saying Vrabel didn't take anything from his time with Belichick at all, but he's not part of the tree. He left there and then coached in a bunch of other places. So I don't know. I mean, tell me if you think I'm off base there. It's just not the same as things you or Romeo or anybody else would have learned coaching under him.
Well, I'd say there's some truth to that, although Mike was a different type of player than a lot of players in terms of his ability to not just recall scheme, but to recall like very specific thing from games, deep in the past, which always really impressed me about him, and game plan specific stuff. So I do think he's different than some other guys that I've coached. And look, double teaming a single player is not as easy as just, hey, we're going to take him away, because they're allowed to move that guy around. They're allowed to motion him. They're allowed to put him in bunches. They can put him in the backfield. There's a lot of spots, and every time you double him, you've got to figure out how you're going to double him and how you're going to deal with them. And those things take reps, and you can't really do it every single play because there's some other stuff that you want to get to, and there'll be opportunities on blitzes and things like that where you can't double them. So it's whether or not the key is to give the illusion that you're doubling him when you aren't doubling him, and then ideally give the illusion that he's singled up when you are doubling him.
So what I'm afraid of with JSN, it happened in the Rams game, both things. We showed like the one-handed catch. So this guy will just make insane, great catches when he's covered. And then there's a play that he catches for a touchdown where the coverage is just blown and the Rams turn around like, I thought you had who had JSN?
Well, I think that last
That's what
thing
I'm
you
worried
said
about.
is a concern of, if you tell me if I'm wrong again. If you switch what you normally do to account for this singular great player, that's when you're more likely to make mistakes and have busts, because guys are thinking rather than reacting.
Well, yeah, look, any time, now this won't be the first time they've doubled a player, but in doubling it, you've got to rep it a lot of different ways because of the combination of defensive backs that can be in the mix. And then, again, doubling them outside is different than doubling him inside. And then if they put him in the backfield, then that's a problem. When they motion him over, or when he's with another wide receiver, now you've got three defensive backs that have to communicate out. And when you get to a bunch, it's four. There's a lot of ways that you can then put pressure back on the defense to free a really good player up. And some offenses really lean into it in the sense that they leave their guy in the same spot every time. Those are the best situations because you always know where he is, and it's like, okay, we can easily rep that. But Seattle will be more creative than that, I think.
I don't think if he gets under 94.5, it's a JSN issue. I think it will be a Sam Darnold pressure issue.
Maybe.
I think he's pretty much unstoppable, but getting to Sam Darnold, poltergeist time. All right, final over-under. This guy is going to be so sweaty and so locked in 20 minutes before the game starts. You won't believe it. Over-under, Brou, 45.5 yards for Stefon Diggs in his first Super Bowl.
This was maybe the toughest one for me. I don't think he'll have a huge day as far as yards, but I do think he will step up. I think he's been a leader for that team.
Yep.
This is his chance on the big stage, and I think he's going to show up. So got him going over.
It's interesting because in the regular season he was at almost 60 yards per game, and the postseason he's only been at 24.3 yards per game. It feels like the odds maker just threw it in the middle, like he's going to be somewhere between his regular season and postseason number. But I do think he's going to end up finding a way to get over 45.6. It doesn't seem like that daunting a number for Diggs.
This is, I would not recommend making this parlay, kids.
I love this.
But I think he's going to hit his over in receptions and his under in yards.
He doesn't get a lot of yak.
Right, and I think he will be kind of Keenan Allen Chargers this year type of role, which is big plays, big third downs, a very important 8-yard catch type of thing. But I don't, especially with the emergence of Booty, I don't think Matt Collins is going to have a huge role, but you like Pop Douglas. I
think Matt Collins is going to be really good, actually.
Okay, so I think you could see a 6-catch for 38-yard game from Stefon Diggs. So I would go under here. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.